Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. The Transportation Security Administration plays a huge part in providing national security, and we often think about them only in the context of airline safety, but they're available in every area of transportation, and during heightened times of security risk, like the July 4th Carnival holiday, they'll most likely be around. News 2's Erica Parsons has the story.
We've all been through checkpoints for the Transportation Security Administration. Anyone who's traveled by air in the last decade is well acquainted with security screenings conducted by TSA officers. But did you know about their Viper operations? That's the Visible Intermodal Prevention and Response teams deployed to all areas of transportation.
Viper teams can be composed of a variety of TSA, federal, state, and local law enforcement and security assets, including federal air marshals who aren't flying, TSA certified explosive detection canine team, transportation security officers, behavior detection officers, TSA inspectors, local law enforcement officers, and they also arrive with certain security technology.
Viper was started in 2005, and officials say it provides an unpredictable layer of security to help prevent terrorism and safety threats against residents and visitors, especially during the July 4th Carnival season when security risks are higher. Officials say just this year alone, the TSA's Viper operations have helped to screen thousands of passengers and several hundred vehicles, particularly at the Red Hook Ferry dock, where together with other agencies, they detected numerous contraband items. They found undeclared firearms and other dangerous items that would have otherwise gone undetected, and one of the highlights of their operation has been identifying a local runaway who was returned safely to her parents' custody. So more than likely, you'll see TSA outside of air travel. Of course, they can't say exactly when they'll be around. Just know they might be.
For security reasons, we don't announce when our teams are going to appear in a different mode of transportation. This is to detect, deter, and disrupt any plotting that might be going on.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
TSA officials remind travelers to be vigilant when traveling by any mode of transportation. They ask that you report suspicious activity to local law enforcement. A combined law enforcement effort last week led to the seizure of more than 1,000 pounds of cocaine. A go-fast vessel was also confiscated, while 3 Dominican smugglers were detained by efforts of the Coast Guard, Royal Netherlands Navy, and U.S. law enforcement. Crew members of a Miami Coast Guard surveillance plane noticed the 3 men loitering aboard the go-fast vessel off the waters of Puerto Rico June 11th. The suspects fled the area quickly while tossing bales of contraband overboard. The Coast Guard, Customs and Border Protection, and the Royal Netherlands Navy all responded to help interdict the suspect vessel. The drug shipment is estimated to have a wholesale value of more than $24 million. Police are investigating 2 non-fatal shootings that occurred Monday night on St. Thomas. Officials say that police were dispatched to the Schneider Regional Hospital around 12:30 a.m. on June 18th to investigate a gunshot injury. According to reports, a 26-year-old male victim told police he was walking near Building 13 in Hidden Valley when a vehicle passed by him and he heard gunshots. He ran and realized he was shot in his left leg. He was then taken to the hospital in a private vehicle. The second gunshot victim was interviewed by police after they were made aware of his admittance into the hospital from a shooting that occurred in Fortuna. The victim told police that he was driving and noticed that a vehicle was following him. When he slowed down, several armed men dressed in black came out of the vehicle and fired at him. Anyone with information that could help is urged to call Crime Stoppers or police, and Crime Stoppers is 1-800-222-TIPS. Department of Human Services personnel have informed VIPD youth investigation detectives that 16-year-old Tarika Alexander still has not returned to the Department of Health girls' home, group home, and continues to evade authorities. Alexander left the girls' home in May and never returned. St. Croix Police Chief James Parrish said he is very concerned about Tarika and her possible living situation. No one is doing this young lady a favor assisting her to evade police, he said. It's imperative that she is located soon as possible for her own safety. Tarika Alexander is 6 foot tall and 190 pounds. She has short black hair and may be wearing a weave, a wig, or extensions. Contact the Juvenile Investigation Bureau at 778-2211. Well, as we reported, 4-year-old Manchild Francois needs your help. She was diagnosed in January with a rare blood disorder called Fanconi Anemia, and she needs a bone marrow transplant in order to ultimately survive. Manchild's parents, Tino and Tamara Francois, and other family members were tested, but no one was a match. Now, the family will be hosting a bone marrow drive on June 22nd from 9:30 to 3 at Lockhart Elementary School in St. Thomas.
Yeah, what do you want to be when you grow up, Michaela?
I want to be a doctor.
Big plans for this little 4-year-old who is already on her way training to become a doctor. She already practices with her patients, her dolls.
I give them shots and I feel they act.
She knows the routine well because it's one that she goes through. Manchild has a rare genetic disorder called Fanconi Anemia, an inherited anemia that leads to bone marrow failure.
I would say October of last year, Michaela gums started to bleed, and it just got really swollen and real inflamed, and I just knew something wasn't right. So I took her to the emergency room, and they first initially told me that, oh, it's a viral infection. It will clear up, it will go away on its own. I think I took her back in like 3 or 4 times, and her number either got lower or it barely improved. And then on January the 7th, that's the call that changed, my life forever. I would never forget. The doctor called and he was like, Miss Francois, we found out why, Michaela is, platelets is a little, lower than normal, and it's because she has Fanconi anemia. Just everything I saw in it was just terrible. I was depressed for a while. Then eventually, I told myself, well, I cannot let this overcome me. I have to be strong for her, and I have to do something about it.
And she did. She found support through Fanconi Anemia research after she was told Manchild had to be put on the bone marrow list.
They tested her sister. She had a full blood sibling, Mariah. That's when we found out Mariah was not a match. So they said normally they don't test the parents, but they'll go ahead and they'll test us, to see if we are a match for her, because there's a slight chance that we might be. Me or her dad, we're not a full match, we're just a half a match. They ran her through the registry. She does not have any matches on the registry.
The fight for a match has brought them back to the Virgin Islands.
Basically, I was told that her best chances of finding a match would be where my husband and I originated from, which he came from St. Croix and I am from St. Thomas.
Bone marrow is the spongy tissue inside some of your bones, such as your hip and your thigh bones. A tissue sampling will be collected using a mouth swab and sent to a lab for marrow typing.
So we're most likely to find a match for her from somewhere in the Virgin Islands rather than in the States where we're from. So this is what leads me here to want to do a drive, and hopefully, we're able to find her a match here.
For more information, you can contact Tamara Francois. That number is right on the screen there, 910-922-3312. Well, it's their job to keep secrets, but today the leaders of several U.S. intelligence agencies came to Capitol Hill to offer more details about secret government surveillance. Both the NSA and FBI told lawmakers the programs have foiled terrorist plots. Tara Mergener has more from Capitol Hill.
The National Security Agency director returned to Capitol Hill to shed some light on 2 previously secret surveillance programs.
I would much rather be here today debating this point than trying to explain how we failed to prevent another 9/11.
Army General Keith Alexander testified recently disclosed programs that collect phone records and monitor internet activity have helped thwart more than 50 potential terrorist attacks. The deputy FBI director elaborated on a handful of them.
We found through electronic surveillance that they were actually in the initial stages of plotting to bomb the New York Stock Exchange.
The former NSA contractor who exposed the surveillance programs has accused the administration and Congress of exaggerating their effectiveness. But officials told lawmakers Edward Snowden's leaks have made the country less safe.
I think it was irreversible and significant damage to this nation.
Has this helped America's enemies?
I believe it has, and I believe it will hurt us and our allies.
President Obama gave his own defense of the surveillance in an interview with CBS This Morning's Charlie Rose.
If you're a U.S. person, then NSA is not listening to your phone calls, and it's not targeting your emails unless it's getting an individualized court order.
The president says he is reviving a board created after 9/11 to look at privacy issues with these programs. Tara Mergener for CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And keeping our eye on the economy, Chrysler is in a rare showdown with the government. The automaker is expected to formally respond to the government's request for a recall of 2.7 million Jeeps. Safety officials say 51 people have died in fires in Jeep Grand Cherokees and Liberties because the gas tanks pose a risk of fire in a rare accident. Last week, Chrysler argued that the SUVs are safe and said it will not comply with the recall demand. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. Everything up, the Dow 138, NASDAQ 30, S&P 12. Coming up on News 2, a Facebook post is stirring up some controversy regarding Tim Duncan. We'll have the story coming up next. A Facebook post has been stirring up a few questions as of whether or not Tim Duncan denounced his Virgin Islands citizenship. News 2's Shaniqua Robinson has more.
A Facebook status posted by Eugene Doc Peterson seemed to have ruffled a few feathers throughout the territory. Peterson posted a satirical piece as Tim Duncan responding to the Virgin Islands community, and unfortunately, it was taken seriously by many.
The article or post on Facebook is a satirical piece that I did on a fictitious person called Teemey Duncan, P-E-E-M-E-Y-D-O-N-N-C-A-N. And it really has nothing to do with the real Timmy Duncan. It has more to do with the people of the Virgin Islands that expect certain things.
Peterson said he was tired of people attacking Duncan and decided to write a post responding to the community, letting them know that Tim Duncan has the right to do as he pleased, but some took it out of context.
The real Timmy Duncan doesn't owe the Virgin Islands anything just because he's a Virgin Islander. And I wanted to get that point across. These people of the Virgin Islands, especially St. Croix, need to change that attitude, not just about this particular person, but in general, contributions that he silently makes, and his contribution and his love for his people of the Virgin Islands. They just speculate because they don't see him out there.
Tim Duncan has made numerous contributions throughout the Virgin Islands community. He funds the Caribbean Education Initiative, a nonprofit organization that supports youth activities and organizations. Vice President Rashidi Clemens knows firsthand.
It's quite extensive, believe it or not. Most recently, he's been funding Caribbean Education Initiative, the Alan Burke Foundation, the Educational Complex Steel Pan Orchestra, the Educational Complex Marching Band, Central High Marching Band, and a whole lot more.
Shaniqua Robinson, News 2.
Tim Duncan is still a Virgin Islands citizen and continues to make contributions throughout the territory. Innovative companies made a special presentation Monday night during the St. Croix Career and Technical Education Center's graduation. They presented the Vocational and Technical Board with a check for $200,000. Almost 150 students were presented with industry-recognized certifications during the ceremony, and officials say the money will go towards helping to create new programs. Innovative's leadership plans to sit with the board to discuss the best way to spend the money. It's part of Innovative's commitment to the community and a condition under Innovative's renewal with the Economic Development Commission.
We're really working with the team, closely with the team, to ensure that some of you, maybe not you today, but the ones coming after you, will be able to come into the Innovative fold. That's what we really want. So we're excited about tonight. We're very, very happy, and very happy. And just so you know, this is the first of 2 years. So next year we'll be doing the same thing.
Innovative is the parent company of CBS TV2. Generation Now, in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club, will be initiating their Molding Adolescent Development Mentoring Program entitled the Manchild Edition. That's from June 29th to August 18th. This free program is directed towards young males ages 11 to 14 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on consecutive Saturdays at the Boys and Girls Club in Frederiksted. 30 spaces are available, and the necessary materials along with meals and beverages will be provided. For more information, you can contact Danelle Lang at 514-9595 or Keisha Christian at 404-317-7350. Well, for the past year, a collaboration between the Humane Society of St. Thomas and American Airlines resulted in the rescue of many shelter animals, but that program may now be in jeopardy.
Years ago, the Humane Society of St. Thomas, in partnership with other nonprofit organizations, launched the Pets with Wings program, an initiative that helped save the lives of many shelter animals.
And the purpose of the program was to transport the animals to the states where they would find homes very quickly.
The American Airlines got on board, offering to transport animals off island for free, as long as they're adopted from the Humane Society.
It's been a tremendous success. We were able to get 150 animals out.
But Pets with Wings hit a snag.
Someone who was leaving St. Thomas, going to Boston, complained about the amount of time it took, I think, to check them in. And I think we were ahead of them in line.
American Airlines officially canceled its support of the program. It will consider requests on a case-by-case basis. According to Vasconcelos, more animals get adopted when transported to the mainland than on St. Thomas. With the loss of free airline tickets, the Humane Society faces a serious dilemma.
The Humane Society is required to take every dog that comes through that door. And when we have no space, then we have to make some unpleasant, difficult decisions. It's hard enough to have to put a dog down when they're sick. It's even harder to have to put a dog down when we don't have any space.
When asked if there's talk of resurrecting its support of Pets with Wings, American Airlines says not at this time. The Humane Society, however, remains undaunted.
The program will continue. We're just going to have to do more fundraising.
Chi-Chi is one of about 130 animals currently sheltered by the Humane Society of St. Thomas. Now that the American Airlines is no longer supporting the Pets with Wings program, the Humane Society is relying on community support to continue to pay for the transportation of these animals. April Knight, News 2.
And if you want to inquire about Humane Society's Pets with Wings program or help to transport or a shelter animal, you can call the Humane Society at 775-0599, or you can visit their website at www.hsstt.com. And don't miss our Pet of the Week segment on Friday. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.